Welcome to Elevate with Carolina, where we talk about life, healing, and everything in between. Hi, I'm Carolina. I'm excited to share Chapter 3 of the book I wrote, The Self-Love Journey. This concept is something I also recorded what is now Episode 2 of the podcast. It's an 8-minute seal-tight packaging, and this is the version of the chapter that talks about the same message. It's a core message of how I look at love, so I feel like it's worth sharing it in this format as well. It's not as distilled as Episode 2, and I wrote it a couple of years ago. So here it is. Chapter 3, The 3 Layers of Relationships: Love, Agreements, and Presence. In 2023, I got engaged to the man I once believed was the love of my life. My understanding of love has shifted dramatically since then, a transformation that could fill an entire book on its own. What matters here is what came after that relationship ended. That engagement ended nearly 10 years after my divorce. By then, a great deal of healing had already taken place, and yet I was still searching for love outside of myself. I was still looking for a missing key within relationships, believing that something or someone else would complete what felt unfinished inside me. In the summer following the heartbreak, I felt called to attend an ayahuasca retreat. What unfolded there was deeply illuminating. The messages I received through that experience connected me profoundly to my higher self and offered clarity I had not accessed before. One message in particular became foundational to this self-love journey, reshaping how I understand love, commitment, and presence. In the midst of that journey, a vision crystallized before me, offering a clear insight into the nature of relationships and love. What was revealed was love as a layered experience, with each layer representing a different way we connect with ourselves, others, and the world. This understanding has since guided how I approach all relationships, helping me see their depth, purpose, and limits with greater clarity. The universal fabric of love. At its core, love is an overarching force. It is what we are fundamentally made of, arguably our purpose on this planet. Love is the frequency through which the divine operates, creating and sustaining life itself. In its purest form, love is unconditional, akin to the agape described in ancient texts and to the Christ consciousness, which represents radical acceptance and compassion. Love is both the beginning and the end, an infinite cycle of creation and return. It is as essential and pervasive as water, sustaining all life. Just as water can return to clarity no matter how muddied it becomes, love too remains pure beneath the layers of human emotion, such as anger, resentment, and grief. Those emotions may cloud our experience of love, but they do not alter its essence. Being in love, agreements, and relationship contracts. The second layer explores the experience of being in love. This phase is often marked by intensity and exhilaration, primarily driven by a surge of biochemical reactions designed by nature to create bonding. Dopamine elevates our mood and creates feelings of pleasure and reward. Norepinephrine heightens alertness, energy, and excitement. Serotonin levels drop, often leading to a narrowed focus on beloved, giving you the rose-colored glasses feeling. This chemical cocktail is not meant to last forever. Biologically, it tends to sustain itself for 2 to 3 years, long enough to bond two people and support the possibility of raising offspring. Beyond that window, the fireworks of early romance require conscious effort to evolve. Shared experiences, intentional time together, curiosity, and honest communication become essential. This is also the layer where relationship agreements live. Whether between romantic partners, friends, family members, or colleagues, these agreements form the structure of the relationship. They include spoken and unspoken expectations around respect, emotional safety, accountability, and care. When agreements are honored, relationships feel stable and nourishing. When they are repeatedly broken, erosion begins. Presence, boundaries, and the right to love them from a distance. The third layer, conditional presence, is perhaps the most misunderstood yet the most important. While love itself can be unconditional, our presence in a relationship should not be. And as a side note for the podcast reading of the book, mind you, this experience was 2 years ago, and I wrote this chapter not much after it. And the podcast, which is the second podcast of the show, I recorded from memory, which to me is interesting because as time passes, the concept has remained in my mind and in my heart, but I can now see that I had already lost some of it. So episode 2 is a more distilled version, and this is closer to what I had as the initial download of the message. The third layer, conditional presence, is perhaps the most misunderstood and yet the most important. While love itself can be unconditional, our presence in a relationship should not be. A clear example from my own life is my relationship with my father. His struggle with schizophrenia made our connection complex and at times frightening. When his behavior became threatening, I had to make the painful decision to distance myself physically. I did not stop loving him, but I could no longer remain present in a way that compromised my safety. The dissolution of my marriage brought this lesson into even sharper focus. Despite the vows we had shared, repeated breaches of trust and respect made it clear that staying present was costing me my well-being. Leaving was not a lack of love. It was an act of self-respect. I learned that it is possible to love someone while choosing distance to heal. These experiences taught me a critical distinction. Love does not require tolerance without limits. Our culture often equates love with tolerance at all costs, promoting the idea that staying is proof of devotion. In reality, confusing presence with love can be deeply harmful. True self-love asks us to recognize when our presence is no longer safe, healthy, or respected. This chapter invites you to look at your relationships through the three-layered lens. Where is love present as a universal force? Where are agreements clear, honored, or broken? And where is your presence being given freely without being protected? Love at its healthiest empowers us to set boundaries, to step back when necessary, and to continue loving without abandoning ourselves. When we understand these layers, we learn that love is not only a feeling, but a series of conscious choices. Each relationship becomes an opportunity for growth, clarity, and a deeper connection that honors both love and self-respect. Also, as an evolving of the message, I now understand that love is more than a feeling. It's our state of being. Journal prompts. List the 3 main relationships in your life. Which agreements are no longer working? Is it a job that pays the bills but no longer nourishes your soul? A friendship that feels one-sided or draining? A partnership that feels more like roommates than a connection? Agreements can be revisited and redefined. Which agreements are no longer working for you? And what would need to change for them to feel aligned again? Prompt 2. Is there someone in your life who you love but choose to keep at a distance? Meaning you care about them, but their presence no longer feels healthy or aligned. If not, which relationship in your life might feel more peaceful if you limited your presence or created more space? Prompt 3. What is one boundary you need to set or reinforce to protect your presence? For example, this could mean saying no to extra work hours, limiting how often you engage in draining conversations, declining invitations that leave you exhausted, or creating distance from someone who repeatedly crosses your boundaries. What is one specific step you can take this week to honor that boundary? Chapter 4 is called Love is Thicker Than Blood. We'll see you there. For those ready to take the first step on their self-love journey, check out the free Self-Love Journey Workbook. 7 actionable steps with journal prompts to restore your heart, build confidence, get unstuck, and unlock your greatest potential. CarolinaBucker.com.